You know, I don't do death well.
No, who does? It's a pretend-a-thon.
What are you thinking?
My parents died on that damn mountain. I know what I have to do now. I can do this. I can do this.
Hi, I'm Erin Gray, and that was my last film, Dreams Awake, that I shot with Jerry and Barry Deal. This was a film that went on to win 17 Film Festival awards, and I was very blessed with receiving the Best Actress at the Monaco Film Festival and one in England as well. Now, Dreams Awake is a film that is very close to my heart, and I am now involved with another film called One Hand Clapping. Here to talk about the film is the writer-director, Jerry Deal. Hey, Jerry.
Hi, good to see you.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about how One Hand Clapping came about.
The film takes place in a small town in Texas, and I grew up in Texas, and it's about 3 brothers. I grew up in a large family with, what do I have, 5 brothers?
Oh.
And so I took some elements from my own personal experiences. I added some other things that, you know, that the type of things that we always wonder about, like what happens to us, you know, after we check out of this place. They grew up and they left Texas after they grew up, and their father's approaching death. And the 3 of them have to come back because he is dying, and they each have their issues with each other and with their dad, so they've got to work out kind of the drama of that. And
So these are 3 brothers who were raised together, but all went 3 different...
all went 3 different ways.
3
and they're
different
completely
paths,
different,
completely.
totally different types of people.
Wow, okay.
And so they bring all those experiences with them. And so there's those layers. And then, of course, like I said, the idea of what could happen afterwards after we check out of this place. And that's where we bring in sort of the reincarnation theme in kind of a subtle way as part of the story, another level. The main story just takes place over a period of a few days.
And is that present time?
It's actually set right at the beginning, just before the new millennium, 2099.
Okay. All right.
It's set in the spring of 1999.
All right.
Just so that's like a new change that's happening time-wise in the new millennium, and they're having to try to cope with the new changes going on in their lives with their dad and themselves. And so the flashbacks kind of reveal what's happened in the past, because there are other issues, like besides the sibling rivalry, there's some domestic abuse there that goes on in the family.
Right.
And that they've got to deal with, and with their dad now that they're grown up.
Right.
And of course their own sibling rival between the 3 of them, you know, who, you know, getting the most attention from what parent. And at this point their mother has already passed away. She had passed away several years before.
Right.
And it's just their dad. So you might say in some ways it's a bit male-centric.
Right.
However, there are 2 strong supporting women roles in this, where the women kind of, in some ways, help the men get to where they need to get. I'd started writing it, the first draft 20 years ago, and over the process I've gone through 9, 10 drafts.
Right. Yeah.
And probably may even do another one before we do this. You know, we actually shoot this thing next spring in Austin, Texas.
Right.
Which is what the plan is at this point. One Hand Clapping was actually optioned by 3 different production companies over about a 15-year period.
Right.
And they never really went into production, obviously, because the rights reverted back to me. And in fact, they reverted back to me before we actually did Dreams Awake. And I was considering doing One Hand Clapping before Dreams Awake. But somehow the mountain sort of spoke to me and said, no, we need to do this first. And then, of course, that's how we met.
What does One Hand Clapping mean?
Well, One Hand Clapping is actually part of a phrase. It's part of a Zen koan called "What is the sound of one hand clapping?", which is in Zen Buddhism, and it's kind of a meditative technique to kind of get us outside of our cognitive mental state, so that it makes it easier to relax and meditate. So we took the one half of that. One Hand Clapping is the title. So what is the sound of one hand clapping?
Okay.
One Hand Clapping, in reference to this film, means that is there more of an intuitive spiritual answer to our existence than just a logical thing, a scientific thing that people are used to hearing about, that we're born, we live life, and we die, and that's it. Well, is there more of a metaphysical answer to that? Is there something that doesn't seem logical or on the surface? And sort of we use that theme as part of the film, the idea of the film, of what we're trying to say overall in the film. We use it through the story. We may take, what we're doing is maybe we take a big idea and use it on a small canvas of a small town in Texas with three brothers and their father trying to work out their issues they have to work out.
So what connects One Hand Clapping with Dreams Awake?
Well, you know, one of the ways they connect is there's several themes in both of them. One of the themes that's similar in both of them is healing your inner child.
Yes.
You know, which is kind of a, I don't know why, it's a subject that's important to me. I think it's important to a lot of people because of all the stuff we go through as kids.
Right.
I mean, who goes through a normal childhood?
Right,
I
nobody.
mean, does one exist?
No, I don't think so.
So I feel like as adults then we have to take it on and go, wow, you know, this stuff could happen to me. I've become this person because of this, this, and that. Is there a way I can fix that or make this feel better for myself?
Right.
And so in Dreams Awake we did the thing with the girl, of course your character, and having to go back and heal that. And this, it's the male lead who's having to deal with this. And something that happened traumatic in his childhood, and he has to deal with it growing up. And actually, even though it happens with him, it's sort of a theme through all the characters. They have these issues growing up. So that was the main connection, I think, was one of the themes. Another thing is just, in a general way, is some of the mystical, metaphysical, just general idea behind it. It was bigger in Dreams Awake. It's a little smaller in One Hand Clapping.
Right, right.
So Erin, how about we flip this just a little bit?
Okay. Why do I want to be involved with One Hand Clapping? Because I've gone my whole life being very commercial in my life. I walked the path of commercialism, from being a model to being an actress to doing television to doing feature films. But throughout my life there has been a burning quest to understand myself, to understand the human condition, to understand why I'm here, where we're going, what my purpose is in life, and to ask bigger questions. And I want to be able to participate in whatever years left in my life in something that really reflects my heart and soul more than the commercial world. Although there's time for playing and those kinds of films, but I think there's also room for these kinds of films. And,
yes, definitely.
And I think also for me, storytelling is very important. And we live in the world of storytelling, and yet our books ask all kinds of questions and delve into all kinds of areas, but our films don't. And I think the time has come where it doesn't have to be dictated by the studio system or the Hollywood system or the commercial system, but I think there's room now for films that can delve into these bigger questions that our books do, and you know, that people have been asking for centuries.
Very good. Wow.
So Jerry, here we are. What is the final and last question is, where are we with the funding?
Well, luckily we do have part of the funding, but now we're asking you, the fans, our audience, to help us get the rest of the funding. The main thing though is that we want you to go on the journey with us, to be kind of a part of the filmmaking process, because there'll be regular updates. You get to see behind the scenes stuff before anybody else will, and you can see the process and see everything we go through, and you know, you be co-owner of the film. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to make the sandbox bigger, and all you have to do is bring your inner child with you and play with us. There's different levels of participation. We need financial participation. We need some creative participation. And we're going to allow you to tell us when we're going to greenlight this film. And I think we'll have a lot of fun along the process.
Is there something you seek?
Should there be? Oh my God.
Is there something you seek?
You get your butt in your room.
Frank, don't.
Now!
Y'all regret this.
God damn it, you two!
Daddy?
What is the sound of one hand clapping? You need to find me.
Dylan?
Dad?
Dylan, are you listening?